Hello, welcome to Romania.
Thank you. It is so wonderful to be here. I'm very, very happy to be here. Okay.
So after 27 years, World New Music Days returns to Romania. For 9 days, Bucharest becomes one of the world capitals for contemporary music, a place where sound, culture, and imagination meet under the theme Infinity Column. When you think of Romania, what comes first to your mind? Culturally, musically, or emotionally?
That's a very big question. I obviously think of international figures like Constantin Brâncuși and also Eugene Ionescu and George Enescu and even some other composers I have met through ISCM. But I also think of culture, of literature, of Mircea Eliade, and also I also think of Feteasco Negru, the great red wine from Romania, and you know there is so much to offer here, and it's so exciting. I was not aware of ISCM. I was too young when the festival was done here last time. I was not connected to it, but in reading about it, I thought, wow, that festival was so impressive. So many concerts, probably the most concerts of any festival in the history of ISCM, and I was always thinking, maybe we come back here one day and maybe this can happen. And due to our great colleague, Irina Hasnash, who was on the executive committee of ISCM for several years, she said, we have to organize something in Romania at some point. And then at some point we were supposed to have a festival and nothing happened. And I immediately pick up my phone and I call Irina. I said, can we make a festival happen quickly? And I thought, maybe, I'm just trying, maybe this will not happen. And they did it. They put this whole thing together. You would think this was being planned for 10 years, this level of festival. And this was all done like in less than a year. They put this thing together, and it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful coming together of the world. We have representatives in ISCM from 6 continents. All of the continents that have people. We did not invite any penguins from Antarctica. They are not going to be able to join us this time. But all of the other continents have organizations that they submit music to, and this festival takes place somewhere in the world, in a different place every year. And in this 21st century, we've met in China, we've met in South Africa, we've met in New Zealand, we met in the Faroe Islands, these remote little islands in the North Atlantic, and now we return to Bucharest. So this is very exciting. And this is my first time in Romania, hopefully the first of many times. I'm so happy to finally be here after reading so much about it and hearing so much about it. It is just great to be in this space. Yeah.
After 27 years, World New Music Days returns to Romania. Why is Bucharest an important host city for this international festival in 2026?
Well, now more than ever, you think that the 20th century ended with the festival in Romania, and now we've in this weird new 21st century, and we really don't know what the future is. Everything is very mysterious and perhaps a little bit scary, and a lot of places in the world have developed this very sort of xenophobic and closing their borders and closing their doors and communicating less. I think it is more important now than ever to come together in a place. And here we are in Romania that shares 2 borders with Ukraine, a country that was invaded only a few years ago, and a war that is still going on. We are so close to it here, but it is important that we bring the world together to show something else besides war, to show that we can come together and have a common humanity and share music together and listen to each other. And I think if there's something, and that's why I said before, it's a very kind of altruistic, almost quixotic idea of this network, that somehow if we can listen, if we can sit and listen to each other, we can understand each other, and maybe we will not fight anymore. I cannot bring the political leaders to the table to sit and hear this music. I cannot bring the soldiers. I cannot bring all the people fighting. But at least we can bring the people of different places together to hear each other's music. And that is a beginning. But we need to build from there. Yes.
How do you see the Romanian contemporary music scene today, and what makes it interesting in the international landscape?
So many interesting composers. Every year we have an opportunity because there are 2 members in ISCM from Romania. So there are at least always 2 works of new music from Romania, and the style is very varied. What is so exciting about the 21st century is there is not one sound. There's not saying, oh, this is what contemporary music sounds like. A lot of people ask me all the time, what does contemporary music sound like? And I say, I don't know. That's why you have to go to the concert. You hear it and you find out. It is always going to be something different. It is always going to be something new. But I have heard so much wonderful music from all over the world through this festival, but also from Romanian composers, and I have to say, also from male and female composers. It is wonderful that there is this organization, ARFA, that is directly promoting the contributions of female creators. There needs to be more of that in the world. There needs to be more showing that composers can be anybody from all walks of life, from any generation, from any gender, from any country in the world. We are all creating music. There are very few things that all people have in common. We all share language. We all speak, even though our languages are not the same. We all create music. Well, music is a kind of a language, but it transcends language. I am trying to study Romanian. I pick up just a little bit, but I know very little. I know maybe a few words, and I could say, bună dimineața, bună seara, noapte bună, and a few things, not so much. But I can hear the music. I don't need to speak the language to hear the music and understand the emotions, the feelings, the passions, the anxiety, the challenges, but also the triumphs through the music.
For someone who has never attended a contemporary music concert and may think this music is difficult or abstract, what would you tell them before their first experience?
I would say, don't worry. There might be something you love. There might be something you hate. It's okay. Try it. It's an experience. It's something that this is music. It is not like we say, oh, the masterpieces of the past, and you have to feel like you love them and they're great, because if you don't love, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, maybe people think you're stupid, that you don't know this piece. But these are new pieces. We don't know if it will survive and if it will not. But the point is that it is something being created now by somebody else who is living and breathing with us. And if there's something you can hear, maybe there's some part of it that you like, if there's something you attach to, you are getting this message from someone somewhere else in the world. And I would say every one of these concerts has maybe 4, 5, 6 pieces. You're not going to like every one, or maybe you will. I tend to like everything. I try to keep a very open mind. But if there's one thing you like, wow. If there's 2 things you like, even better, that you walk away from this experience, something you never heard before, that you don't know. It opens a door, it opens a window into a new sound world, into a new possibility. That's exciting. That's more exciting than hearing a piece you already know. You can go home, listen to a record or a live stream, or play it yourself on a piano if you play an instrument, or even if you have no background. But to hear a new piece that is brand new, you are witnessing this act of birth when it is getting performed for the first time. That's very exciting. And we have some premieres, but also for most of the pieces we'll be hearing in this festival, this music maybe was played in the country that it is from, but never before played in Romania. So for a local audience, this is very exciting, a chance to hear, say, a piece from Denmark, a piece from Australia, a piece from South Korea, a piece from Vietnam. All of these countries are part of this network, a piece from Chile in South America. We have all of these countries are represented here, and delegates will be here. And I say, come to the concert, find the composer, seek the person out. And if you love the piece of music, the composer may be in the audience. You go up to them and say, hi. If you don't like it, don't say, oh, I hate your music. That's bad. That's not a good idea. But maybe you find something that you like, and you can actually interact with that person. You can't tell Beethoven you love his music. He's not here. And if he was here, he couldn't hear you. So then, yeah.
This year's theme is Infinity Column, inspired by Constantin Brâncuși. What makes this concept special in the international context of contemporary music?
It's a column that goes on forever. It never ends. It's infinite. We began this society. This was an idea of people sitting around after a concert in 1922, and we did this first festival in 1923. It's a long time ago, 103 years ago since the first festival. But we keep going. It's about the future. We have this past that we're very proud of, but we're even more proud of the future. And will some of these pieces become part of the repertoire? In the history of ISCM, in 1936, in Barcelona at the ISCM Festival, the Alban Berg Violin Concerto was performed for the very first time. This is now a classic piece that is part of repertoires of orchestras, of violinists all over the world. It was a brand new piece that was born at an ISCM festival. So this infinite column, it's the future. It's what will happen next, and we don't know what will happen next. All we know is that it will continue, and that humanity will continue, and will continue to make music, and we will be able to continue to share music with each other.
If you had to describe this edition of World New Music Days in one sentence, what would you say?
One sentence. Now you ask the tricky question. How about one paragraph? One page. I can say this is actually the first festival that I am going to be attending as president of ISCM. I was just elected last year. This is kind of the beginning of my presidency. So I would say this is a week of optimism, a week of sharing with friends and colleagues, old friends, new friends, people I don't know yet. We have this experience. We come together once a year somewhere in the world and we share this music. And maybe we plant seeds. The seed was obviously planted here a long time ago. Before this festival, you hosted the festival back in 1999. And in fact, Romanian composers have been involved with this festival since the 1930s. Mikhail Mikhailovich had Mikhailovich, I think. Yeah, my pronunciation is, I always want to say the extra letter, was the first Romanian composer whose music was done at a festival. So that was 90 years ago. So it's not like we're introducing ISCM to Romania. It's kind of a homecoming. But we hope that it will grow. We hope that it will continue and that there will be events even beyond this festival of composers. If you hear a piece of music that you heard this week, these composers wrote other pieces, programmed something else. Maybe some composer wrote a string quartet that you love and you're singing in a chorus. Maybe that composer has a piece for chorus that you can perform. It's about introducing new sounds and new elements and having a new vocabulary and new works and new people to interact with. Yeah, that's a very long sentence. Sorry.
Well, thank you so much, and we hope to see you again.
Yes, you will. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.